Okay, so hopefully we've satisfied talking about trans issues here. Of course, always great to go learn more about it, but we'll move on.
I think, personally, I think that we've solved all the issues and there will never be another problem.
Of course, yeah. But Eric is now going to set up a line of questions when talking to Pastor Eugene from Oregon here, and I think it goes pretty phenomenally well.
Real quick, do you think he's a pastor named Eugene from Oregon, or do you think maybe his name is Pastor from Eugene, Oregon?
You know what? That's a really good point. I have no idea.
Let's watch.
If there's evidence for something, do you need faith?
No.
Which do you think is better, faith or evidence? Because one is going to lead you to my book being true as well. The other is going to lead you to a scientific revolution in a world where you can call me on a cell phone.
I never thought of this.
Yeah, it's a good thing to think about.
You used to call me on the cell phone, but Jesus Christ, cue the mic drop graphic. Hey, I'm doing the graphics. I could do a mic drop graphic. Nah. Anyway, your thoughts first.
So this line of questions is just extremely powerful, obviously, as you've seen here, especially if your interlocutor is actually honest. And the pastor on the line here was really honest about this. He had never thought about it, which seems almost ridiculous to a lot of us in the atheist community, but a lot of people haven't thought about this. And, you know, it's okay. We can't fault them for having never thought about it. We have to praise them when they do and they admit when they're wrong, when they say, I don't know.
Precisely. Absolutely. And so we already talked about I don't know is important, but also being thoughtful. Now, I do want to draw a little, let's put a line down in the sand. Being a skeptic doesn't mean everything is acceptable. And so this is something that I ran into recently in a conversation with a person who was trying to get me to accept basically all versions of woo. They'd be offended I said woo again. They didn't like it the first time, but that I discount things like essential oils, that I discount things like alternative medicine, drinking your own pee, astrology, and saying that I'm not being skeptical enough because I deny those things. And it's kind of that old stupid argument of, well, you can't prove God doesn't exist. And so God is meaningful to people. So since you can't prove he doesn't exist, you're not being skeptical by saying, I don't believe he does. That's not what skepticism is. Skepticism is the lack of belief until you have a good reason to believe in something. So to say that my lack of belief in something else is me not being skeptical, and this is only vaguely related to the point, but I'm on a hot streak. But to say my lack of belief is not skeptical, that's actually where skepticism comes in. And then my doubts on top of that, I have good reason for those doubts. So anyway,
yeah,
don't be a dick.
I totally agree for sure.
Cool.
Just in wrapping this one up quickly, this was kind of a question that led one of my friends and an ACA show host now on Truth Wanted, my friend Objectively Dan. This is what led him to really question his faith. The question was posed by Anthony Magnabosco, and he started realizing, you know, faith maybe isn't actually a great thing to rely upon for your beliefs. And now he's an atheist with an awesome new call-in show. Yeah.
It's funny how I feel like I've seen it so many times. And this is one I can't identify with from back when I was religious. And usually I can identify with most, but I think had a person taken me down this line of thought, while in the moment I might have denied it, it would have sat with me really hard. But you can get religious person after religious person after religious person to admit that faith is a pathway to anything, that you can believe literally anything based on faith, but they don't care. They don't separate, or they have this concept of, but my faith is the type of valid faith. How do you reconcile those? And the answer to the question is, I put it in the bag of things I don't reconcile. I just believe without worrying about these problems. And I don't know how they get there.